Good afternoon, Mambani. So, we're talking all about this exclusion from gross income. So, refer to income or receipts that are excluded from taxpayers' total income calculation. In other words, these items are not included when determining an individual's gross income for tax purposes. Consequently, they are not subject to income tax. However, despite their exclusion from gross income, some of these income items may still be subject to other taxes beyond tax. So, ang exclusion from gross income, it's all about sa mga kita o resibo na hindi kasama sa pagkalkyo ng kabuuang kita ng isang taxpayer para sa purpose ng pagbubuwis. Sa madaling salita, hindi ito nabibilang sa parte ng gross income na pagbe-base ng tax sa kita, dahil dito hindi sasakop ng income tax. Pero kahit di kasama sa gross income, may ilang income items na maaaring under pa rin ng ibang uri ng buwis maliban sa income tax. So, halimbawa nito ay mga proceed mula sa life insurance. Kapag ang isang tao na may life insurance ay namatay, ay perang natatanggap sa kanyang mga beneficiaries mula sa insurance policy ay hindi tinuturing ng taxable income. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito kasama sa gross income at hindi kailangang bayaran ng buwis sa kita. Pero kung ang perang ito ay kumikita ng interest, ang interest na iyon ay taxable at dapat isama sa gross income. So next is proceed of a life insurance policy. Proceed of a life insurance policy refer to the sums paid out to the beneficiaries when the insured individual pass away. In other words, these are the actual monetary benefits received by the beneficiaries from the life insurance policy. So the policy procedure represent the amount of money that the beneficiaries are entitled to receive upon insured death. So dito sa proceeds ng life insurance policy, ito yung halagang binabayad sa mga beneficiaries kapag namatay ang taong insecured. Ibig sabihin nito ay may perang benepisyo na natatanggap ang mga beneficiaries mula sa life insurance policy. Ang proceed na ito ay represent sa halaga ng pera na may karapatan silang matanggap pagkatapos ng pagpanaw ng insured. So isipin natin na si Kent ay may life insurance policy na may halagang 1 million. Kapag siya ay pumanaw, ang 1 million na iyon ay ibibigay sa kanyang mga napiling beneficiaries tulad ng kanyang asawa o anak. Bilang proceed ng policy, hindi ito kasama sa gross income ng mga beneficiaries at hindi nila kailangang bayaran ang income tax para sa halagang ito. Pero kung ang policy ay may kasamang clause na nagpapaintulot sa pag-earn ng interest sa proceed habang hindi ito nag-claim ng interest na iyon ng taxable at dapat ideklara bilang kita. So next is amount received by the insured as a return of premium. So dito naman ay parang binabalik sa policy holder sa ilalim ng ilang sitwasyon. Maaari itong mangyari kapag kinansel o binago o kung may sobrang bayad sa policy. Sa esensya, ito ay nagbabalik ng hindi pa nagagamit ng bahagi ng premium na binabayaran ng insured para sa coverage hindi na niya gagamitin. Consequent ay may insurance policy na may coverage hanggang sa katapusan ng taon, pero inansel niya ito sa middle ng taon. May karapatan siyang makuha ng return of premium para sa mga buwan na hindi na niya gagamitin ang insurance. Kung ang kanyang binabayaran premium para sa buong taon ay let's say 12,000 at siya ay nag-cancel pagkatapos ng 6 months, maaari siyang makatanggap ng kalahati nito o 6,000 bilang return of premium. So dako naman tayo sa gift, bequest, and devices or descent. The value of property acquired by gift, bequest, device, or descent, provided however that income from such property as well as gift, bequest, device, or descent of income from any property in cases transfers of divided interest shall be included gross income. So dito ay tinutukoy sa halaga ng ari-arian na nakuha sa pamagitan ng regalo, mana o pagpapasa ng ari-arian mula sa isang tao patungo sa isa pa. Kapag ang ari-arian ay nakuha sa ganitong paraan, karaniwang itong hindi kasama sa gross income at hindi taxable. Pero may mga pagkakataon na ang kita mula sa ganitong ari-arian o ang kita mula sa ari-arian ay nakuha sa pamagitan ng regalo o pagpasa, lalo na sa interest, ay hati-hatin at kailangan isama sa gross income. So halimbawa si Ken, binigyan ng bahay bilang regalo mula sa kanyang magulang. Ang halaga ng bahay ay hindi kasama sa kanyang gross income, pero kung ang bahay na iyon ay nag-generate ng rental income, ang rental income na iyon ay dapat isama sa kanyang gross income at taxable ito. So if ever kung siya ay nagmanan ng isang lupain at wala itong kita o interest, ang halaga ng lupain ay hindi kasama sa kanyang gross income at hindi siya kailangan magbayad ng income tax para dito. Pero kung ang lupain ay nagkakaroon ng kita tulad ng pagtanim ng mga pananim na binebenta, ang kita mula ito ay dapat idagdag sa kanyang gross income. Lastly ay compensation for injuries and sickness. So compensation for injuries and sickness refers to the benefits or payment provided to employees who suffer from work-related injuries or illness. This compensation is designed to cover medical expenses, lost wages, and other related costs that arise due to an injury or sickness that occurs in the course of employment. So dito naman ay tinutukoy ang mga benepisyo o bayad na binibigay sa mga empleyado na nagre-receive ng pinsala o karamdaman na may connection sa trabaho. Ang ganitong uri ng compensation ay para mabayaran ng mga gastusin sa medical na nawalang sahod at iba pang related ng gastos na interest ng pinsala o sakit na nangyari habang nasa trabaho. Konsekwenta ay nagkaroon ng aksidente sa trabaho at nabalian ng binte. Ang kanyang employer ay magbibigay ng compensation para sa kanyang paggagamot at sa sahod na hindi niya natanggap dahil hindi siya makapagtrabaho habang nagpapagaling. Kung ang kanyang average na daily wage ay 500 at siya ay hindi nakapagtrabaho ng 30 days, so sa isang buwan ay maaaring makatanggap siya ng 15,000 para sa lost wages, bukod pa sa pagtakip ng gastusin sa ospital at sa paggagamot. So yun lamang po, thank you po.
Good afternoon everyone. My name is Kent Michael Diduano. My tackle is Chapter 9, Regular Income Tax, Inclusion in Gross Income. My topic is prices and winnings. Prices and winnings are that exempted from final tax are not items of gross income subject to regular income tax. Exempt prices and winnings. Number 1 is prices receiving without effort to join contest. 2. Process in athletic competition sanctioned by the respective national sports association. Winnings from PCSO games are not exceeding 10,000 pesos in amount. Summary rules of prices and winnings for individual taxpayers. Yung mga ano daw, explanation is yung mga exempted sa saying tax is a first, nanalo sa mga small contest like mga barangay. Second, kapag in-represent yung country tas nanalo at or nagkaroon ng cash prize. Third naman, kapag nanalo ng kahit anong pang games ng PCS on ng 10,000 and below. The final taxation prices or winnings for corporations is not contemplated in the NIRC. Hence, the taxable prices and winnings of corporation are subject to regular income tax. Pension. This pertains to pensions or retirement benefits to fail to meet and the exclusion criteria and hence subject to regular tax. Sa second naman po is kapag naman nagkaroon ka po ng corporation o regular tax, ang babayaran mo. Sa pension naman, magiging regular tax siya if hindi na-meet ng criteria or need nang hihingi. Next po is partner distributable share from the net income of the general professional in partnership. It should be recalled that general professional partnerships are not subject to income tax. Example po is yung capital gain stock or regular income tax, because they are merely viewed as pass-through entities. The partners are ones that subject to regular income tax on their share in the net income of general professional partnership. For this purpose, a net income of the general professional partnership that include item of income which are exempted for the final tax or capital gain stock is the general professional partnership. So keep in mind that the typical business allies are not be liable to income tax. Either standard income tax or capital gain tax, since they are only considered historical entitlement. The partners are liable ordinary income tax on their portion on the net earnings from the general professional partnership. The general professional partnership's net income for this purpose is contains income items that are not subject to capital gain tax or final gain tax. Taxation represent the standard professional allies. The next po is yung the partner shall be include their respective share on their gross income subject to regular income tax. Number 1 is exempt joint ventures. Number 2, exempt co-owners. The business partnership is taxable joint ventures or co-ownership. These entities are subject to corporate income tax. The distribute share of the partner, venturer or co-owner from the net income of these entities are organized within the Philippines, subject to 10% final withholding tax. However, these entities are organized and constitute abroad. The share from their profit is subject to regular income tax for taxpayer taxable or global income tax. It should be recalled again that the final income taxation is a theoretical and does not apply for foreign income. The next is general criteria for item of gross income. Item of gross income subject to regular income tax are not limited to the enforcement IRC list. Under the NIRC, the regular income tax has a catch of all provision of all income delivered from the whatever resources that are. Number one is not subject to final tax, capital gains tax, and the capital tax regime and not included or exempted by law, treaty or contract form taxation. Dito po sa item of gross income that are normally subject to tax are not restricted from the NIRC list described above. The NIRC stipulates that all provision or ordinary income tax applies to all income produced from whatever sources. Those are maybe one exempt from the capital gains tax, final tax, or special tax. Second, not barred or exempted from prosecution by statute, agreement, or contract levying. Next is other sources of gross income subject to irregular tax. Income distribution for taxable estates or trusts. Number two is share from the net income of other past trust entities. Exempt joint venture. Exempt for the co-ownership. Number three is farming income. Number four is recovery to past deductions. Number five is reimbursement of expenses. The last is cancellation of indebt, in, indebtedness for consideration. Next is the income distribution from taxable estates or trusts. Any income distribution received by an heir or beneficiary from the taxable estate of trust shall be included in his gross income subject to regular tax, provided that such income must not have been subjected to final tax or capital gains tax. Next is share from the net income exempt from joint ventures of ownership. That the same tax treatment or recognition to share in the net income of the general professional partnership applies to the share from the net income of exempt joint ventures to co-ownerships. The next is net farming income. The farming operation can classified as a raise and help operation. Proceed on the sales livestock of or farming is included to gross income subject to regular income tax. Animal raising expenses are presented as an items of deduction against gross income. Number two is purchase sale operation. The gross income profit from the sales less cost of purchase is included in gross income. Next is recovery of fund deduction. When the past year deduction from the gross income subsequently recovered by the taxpayer or accrued expense previously deducted are subsequently paid at amount less than the deduction claimed, they should be analyzed whatever or not resulted in tax benefits to the taxpayer. Example of recoveries of past deduction. Number one is recovery of previous claim bad debts expenses. Number two is a refund of local taxes expenses. Number three is refund of foreign tax previous claim as deduction. Number four is a recommencing abandoned petroleum service contract for mining tenements. Release to serve of insurance company. The last is interest expenses which were subsequently condoned by the lender. Dito naman po sa past deduction that's created tax benefits to taxpayer must be reverted back to the gross income in the year of recovery so that the government will recover the tax loss from the deduction. Next is a tax benefit. There are two ways taxpayers may benefit such from a deduction. Number one is directly to deduction of taxable income in the year deduction is made. B is indirectly through the reduction of future taxable income to carry over net operating loss. The note is under our tax laws, the excess of deduction over the gross income taxable year carried over the deduction against the net income of the next 3 years of operation. This is called net operation of loss carry over the NOC law, ang tawagin. Because of this, almost the prior year deduction have tax benefit, hence their recovery is taxable. Dito naman po sa next po is refund or non-deductible expenses. Expenses or more payments which are not detectable against gross income in the computation of taxable net income. Will the never create the tax benefits to the taxpayers? As such, their recovery should not be included in gross income. Dito po sa when the previous year's deduction from gross income is made later reimbursed to the taxpayers, or when costs were already incurred are then paid in an amount that is less than the deduction asserted, and there to be examined to see if they deduct tax advantage for the taxpayers. Ito yung yung refund and non-deductible expenses. Payments or expenses that are not deductible in relation to gross revenue in the taxable. In the net income calculation will be never produce a financial advantage for the taxpayers. Their recuperation through the exclude from gross income. And thank you for listening.